Check this out. This is sick. Perfectly untangled. Gotta stress test it, obviously.
Hello? Can you guys hear me? Hello?
What is up, homies? My name is Felix, and I'm here back again with another video for you all today. And as you might have been able to tell from the title of this video, I got a new microphone. This bad boy right here is the Shure SM57. It's one of the most famous microphones of all time, if not the most. It's a dynamic microphone, which means that it's really good for recording like live vocals and live instrumentation when you're doing like a band and stuff. It goes for about $100, which is a pretty good price actually, but today we're going to be seeing if that price is actually worth it or not. So yeah, like I said, this is just one of those microphones that everybody has. Everybody talks about how good it is, how awesome it is. So we're going to actually be seeing if that's true here today. We're going to be running this thing through a couple of tests. Obviously, we're going to stress test it a little bit. I'm going to record my voice on here, going to record some guitar, maybe some other instruments, who knows. We're just going to have a blast here today. So yeah, make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produced, my beat store, my Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so. And now we can get into this video. So to start our little review off here, let me give you guys a little bit of information on this thing. So so the one that I bought does not come with a cable, so I actually had to buy a cable separately. As you can see, here's the cable. It's a 15-foot cable, so I can do stuff like this. And you guys can still hear me, which is pretty epic. It's an XLR microphone as opposed to a USB microphone, which I've been wanting for a while because the USB microphone is a little bit iffy if you have an audio interface. Because if you got a USB mic and you got an audio interface, you got to unplug one, plug the other one back in, and it causes a bunch of audio issues. And if you don't know, there's basically dynamic microphones and then there's condenser microphones. And a condenser microphone is like the one that I have, this one right here. I couldn't tell you all the specifics, but I know that dynamic microphones are much better for live performance type stuff because they do a much better job of blocking out other noises around. So the one main problem here is that I'm not really a mic review guy. Like, I don't really know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to microphones and everything. So instead of doing some industry standard professional way of testing this microphone, we're just going to do this the feezo way. So when I was doing some research, I saw this guy do this thing where he kind of like rotated the microphone around. So we're going to do that here. This right here is 0 degrees. This right here is 90 degrees. This right here is 180 degrees. This right here is 90 degrees. Back to 0 degrees. That was some industry level stuff right there. Also, just want to mention when I do all these tests here, I'm probably gonna have to boost the volumes a little bit, but other than that, there's not gonna be any compression or EQ or reverb on any of the recordings. Okay, so I feel like I've kind of already tested the vocals because I've been recording with this thing the entire time. So why don't we just try out a little guitar action, you know, one of these things here. I don't really have like a proper stand for this, so I guess we're just gonna have to kind of wing it. Alright, so that right there was a pretty up close and personal classical guitar demo there. So now we're going to switch it over to maybe a little regular acoustic guitar. Because, you know, with different strings and everything, it's going to pick up different nuances and little, whatever, I don't know. Alright, so that was like some fingerstyle action, but now we need to try a little bit of this right here. A little strumming, a little chord strumming action. Alright, so that was some acoustic guitar action right there. Sounded pretty good, maybe. But another thing that this microphone is pretty known for is miking up guitar amps. So naturally, we got to try that out and hear how that sounds. All right, so when it comes to miking up guitar amps, there's a whole, you know, methodology, Scientology behind this. I'm not going to go into the whole thing right now. It has a lot to do with the distance from the microphone to the amp. There's a lot of science and math and stuff involved. However, I'm going to show you guys, I guess, just like the basics of what I'm doing here. Alright, so if I had a proper mic stand, this would be a wee bit easier to explain. However, this little cone thing right here is the main thing you want to worry about. This is what produces the sound out of your amplifier. So I think really the most common way that people do this is they'll have their mic about like 6 inches away from the middle of the cone. So like this. And then you can move it back as you so choose, move it forward as you so choose. Some people like to do it kind of offset from the axis. Some people like to, maybe do it this way. It's all up to you. It really just depends how you like it to sound. There's a million different combinations you can get out of just messing around with your microphone placement. But yeah, since I don't have a mic stand, I'm going to be using this little backpack right here. And we're just going to be doing one of these. Nothing wrong with that. That works fine, So I could have done a million more amp tests because obviously there's infinite possibilities here. However, I figured I would just keep it pretty simple because we still have quite a few tests to get to. This next one here is actually a professional patented microphone test here of mine. This one's called the Joe Rogan podcast test. So basically the way this one works is you put on, any podcast of your choosing, doesn't have to be Joe Rogan, and you just take this bad boy, start playing it, put it on the other side of the room over here. And then I'm just going to go over here while Snoop Dogg and Joe Rogan are talking over there, and hopefully you won't be able to hear it. You probably will be able to hear it a little bit. I guess this is kind of like a noise cancellation test. We've got Snoop and Joey talking in the background over there while I'm trying to record a video. Let's see how well I can do that. This next test here is another one of my own creations. It's called How Hard Can I Blow Into the Mic Without the Levels Peaking? So I'm like spitting in that thing. That's pretty impressive, actually. It's very much withstanding the 50-mile-an-hour winds coming out of my mouth right now. That is going to sound crazy. Alright, so next up here, we've got another one of my patented tests. This one's called the wooden plank test. I'm basically just going to slam two wooden planks together and... pretty loud. Alright, so this next one is called the... Alright, so now for some actual information that I figured I should share. This microphone, at least for me, is a lot quieter than my other microphone that I have. I've noticed that I've had to boost my audio interface quite a bit, actually. Usually for me, I have the gain knob set at like 20-25% up, but when I'm using this thing, I have it up like almost 70% or so, and it's still pretty quiet. I'm still having to boost the levels in the editor program that I use. But yeah, so that's one thing you might notice when you try it out for the first time is that it's pretty quiet. Also, I don't really know why, but this thing on top rotates. It just literally moves around. I don't know why that does that. Anyways, now we can get back to our scientific testing. I've heard before that when you hold the microphone in different ways, it kind of gives it different like EQ curves, I guess, and usually they're all pretty bad. So if you notice a lot of times when rappers are performing on stage and stuff, they like to hold the microphone like this for whatever reason and just like completely cover the microphone like this. So we're going to try out some variations of that and see how it sounds. So this right here is completely uncovered. This right here is about a half cover, I would say. This right here, I got the whole sides of the mic covered, but the top is exposed. And this right here, I'm just completely covering the entire mic. Okay, so unless I think of some more tests here, I think the last test is going to be, can the microphone pick up the noise from my computer? Test. So yeah, honestly, at this point, I think I've done pretty much all the tests that one man can do. Really can't think of anything more, scientific or data-oriented than all the tests that I just did. I recorded the whole video with this microphone, so hopefully there was no problems with it. Hopefully it didn't mess up the audio at any point in time, because that sure would suck. So yeah, honestly, just kind of wanted to hop on here today, show off my new mic here, give my little informal review of the SM57. The bottom line here, would I recommend this microphone to people? I do have to say this microphone is pretty good. I've really only used it mainly for recording guitars and stuff, but when I was doing that, it sounded really, really good. It's a very quiet mic, like I was saying before, so you really have to boost the volume quite a lot, but I haven't really found any problems with that. Like, it has a pretty quiet noise floor or whatever, because I haven't really noticed any white noise at all when boosting the volumes a whole lot, which is really nice. The build quality is also really good. I know they stress test these things like crazy, like they run them over with tanks and shoot them with AK-47s or whatever, I don't know. Also, the price tag on this thing, really, really good. $100 for such a, versatile, such an iconic microphone. It's just something you can't beat, but it does depend on your situation, because when you think about it, the microphone is only $100, but however, because it's an XLR microphone, you can't plug it straight into your computer, so you need an audio interface, which is also going to be like $100, and you need a cable, which will cost you like an extra 15 or 20 bucks if you get an actually good one. So yeah, if you're in the market for a good XLR microphone, this one is probably the way to go, honestly. I might change my mind after I review all this footage here, But however, right now I would definitely say I recommend it for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Make sure you guys check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud down in the description below, along with the playlist of songs I produce, my beat store, my Discord, all that stuff. Go check it out if you'd like to do so. feezostore.com. Go cop yourself some fire merch, such as these merches right here. And I will see you guys next time.
Energy, critical